On this day in New York sports history, October 26, 2000, the New York Yankees cement a part of their legacy by securing their third World Series in a row. Being down 2-1, the Yanks gained momentum thanks to future captain Derek Jeter.
That's well hit into left field, Mike Tyson. On Biani, back, it's a 2-2 game. Derek Jeter's gone deep again.
The Yankees would advance to beat the Mets 4-2 in Game 5 at Shea Stadium to the delight of Yankee fans everywhere.
Watson gets into one to center. Back is Brian Williams. A three-pitch. New York Yankees. For the third time in a row, fourth time in 5 years, and 26th time in franchise history, they are the world champions.
With this New York sports moment, I'm Anthony Payero. Hello everyone, we're back. This is Payero's Power Play. It's Wednesday, it's 2 o'clock, and we're doing what we love. Shout out to all of our fans watching right now on Ustream.com. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at WICR1, and you can also follow the Power Play on Twitter at Payero Power Play.
Go follow Power Play.
Do you have a Power Play?
I don't have a Twitter account for my show now.
You don't have one? You don't have an equivalent to the Power Play Twitter? Gotta get on that. Twitter's the wave.
Twitter is the wave.
Where did we leave off? Alex Rodriguez and David Ortiz. And they're beefing. They weren't friends.
They are beefing.
And we had to look that up. We had to consider ourselves. We had to ask ourselves, why the beef between the two guys? And the Cold War seems to be over. They embraced each other yesterday. They both went up to each other. War. I mean, yeah, that's what our friend Scott Lauber at ESPN was calling it. That's what he was calling it,
okay.
Yeah. So they went up to each other yesterday, and they embraced, and they shook hands, and they both went up to the media and said that they liked one another. And the reasoning behind it is, drumroll, steroids. That's right. They spoke about that case. They spoke about the case that happened in 2014 when Alex Rodriguez had to step away from the game for a year against his will. You know, they forced him to leave the game for a year due to his involvement with that whole PED case. And his lawyer went on ESPN radio and said quite a statement, throwing some shade. And I have it for you here as part of an article that I found on ESPN.com. It says that Ortiz was deeply offended when Rodriguez's lawyers appeared on ESPN radio in January 2014 and in a discussion about steroid use in baseball said, "I'm not going to start naming all the players, but some of them are godlike in Boston right now."
I love how he starts by saying he's not going to name any players, but then just drops the
biggest bomb. Mic drop. Let's go. We're going home. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
It's like, no, I'm not going to name anyone.
No, that's unnecessary beef.
But I'm definitely going to point my finger at the guy, and you can assume which one it is.
That's unnecessary beef. It shouldn't have gone down that way, but it did. And they haven't spoken since until yesterday. The lawyer, Joseph Tacopina, later insisted he wasn't referring to Ortiz, and his remark furthered the perception in some circles that Ortiz was a cheater. Now, David Ortiz, I may not like the man.
He has had
because of his involvement with the Red Sox. But everyone keeps accusing him of it. And if everyone's been brought to light so far, every single player has been brought to light, whether you admitted it or you're on the list of players or someone saw you or you've got caught in pictures, everyone has admitted it at one point or another. And I think that in this day and age in baseball, if David Ortiz was guilty, we would know about it. We would know about it.
I sort of agree with you.
As Ryan Braun thought he could hide that from people.
Yeah.
And look what happened. The guilt got to him.
Ryan Braun.
He was not going to keep that NL
Ryan
MVP.
Braun made a huge mistake.
Of admitting it or doing it?
Of doing it.
Or both.
And then lying about not doing it for as long as he did.
Yeah.
That just made the whole situation worse.
It's a problem that every single baseball player is encountering right now.
Not only did he lie about not doing it, he threw someone else's job. He threw someone else who was doing their job correctly under the bus.
Right.
Which put his position, his career, under the spotlight for a pretty long amount of time.
Yeah. It's like you're not going to sit there and tell me that, David Ortiz is guilty. Where's the proof? If he was guilty, we would know about it. And I don't want to. Let's play devil's advocate for a second.
I'll play devil's advocate.
Okay, let's go.
I have heard of I haven't read up on this in a while, so fact check me if I'm wrong. However, I have heard that David Ortiz has failed multiple drug tests.
Okay.
And nothing has been done about it. It's kind of just been shoved under the rug because he was a large part of the rejuvenation in Boston in the early 2000s. And so they kind of pushed it under the rug. And now it's starting to simmer back up and people are starting to get a little angry about it. That's essentially all I know.
Now, David Ortiz has been with the Red Sox since 2003, I want to say.
Somewhere around there.
He got there right before they went on that World Series run with Manny Ramirez. Who's guilty? Ramirez is guilty.
Of course.
Now if Ramirez was guilty and doing these drugs back then, who's to say, and even though he was doing this in LA.
Look, if it's in a clubhouse, it's in a clubhouse, and it's a fair assumption to say that it's not just one person doing it.
And the Red Sox have gone through so much, like the chicken and beer in the clubhouse and all of this. There was just so much spotlight around this team for so long that if David Ortiz was guilty, we would know about it. There would have been this story would have come out a long time ago in 04, 05, 06, 07. The Red Sox have won 3 World Series with David Ortiz on the team. Who's to say that they've started winning all of a sudden? David Ortiz is playing phenomenal baseball. Let's look into it. Let's see if he's cheating or not. You know?
No, I know exactly what you mean, and that's a really fair assumption to make. And playing devil's advocate again, the way that these normally happens is that it's not the players originally that say, I want to do steroids. Most players go into a clubhouse saying, I don't want to do steroids. And then they start struggling a little bit, and some of their, I don't want to say coaches, but some of the people on the staff or higher up on the team start suggesting to them that maybe they start doing something about it.
Right.
And they're pushed to take PEDs. And so more often than not, it's not just one person that's doing that, because this person that's advocating for the PEDs will push it on multiple players, not just one. And so normally when something like that happens, or at least back in the 90s when it was like very, very big, that's normally what would happen.
I like to think that he's clean, and that
I like to think everybody in baseball is clean.
Right, but I don't know.
I'm pretty sure
somebody
can
like
make
Big
a fair
Papi,
assumption that
who's such an ambassador for the game, and he's well respected in the league by a lot of people.
How old is he?
David Ortiz is about to be 40. He's around there.
I think he's somewhere upwards of 40.
He might be 38. I don't think he's over 40.
I think he's somewhere upwards of 40.
You think so? He is 40.
Oh, okay.
His birthday is November 18th, 1975. Just turned 40 in November.
Wow.
So
good for him, man.
He'll be 40 throughout the rest of the season. It's his last season. A lot of respect for David Ortiz.
Is it his last season?
It's his last season.
I did not know that.
He announced it. Announced that this would be 2016 would be his last season.
Wow.
As a player.
Respect to David Ortiz.
And respect to him. And back to what started all of this. That his name's going to go down as one of the greatest DHs of all time. Designating hitting is made for players like David Ortiz, and he excelled at the position.
He was a very niche player, where all he could do was hit. He wasn't a great fielder.
Right.
And the Red Sox did a good job of figuring out that, hey, this DH position is literally made for this kind of player.
Yep. And the Red Sox love him, and A-Rod loves him, and we love him. A lot of respect for this guy. And A-Rod, they went up to each other yesterday. Clean slate, great guys. And it's the leadership that we see in guys like Alex Rodriguez and David Ortiz, who can put differences aside, despite team rivalries and personal bickering and all of this. There's no need for it when you're two guys who have respect for each other, respect for the game as much as these two guys do.
That's a really important part about having a winning team, is having one or two players like David Ortiz, Alex Rodriguez, David Wright, people like that who know the game, who know the players in the game, and can garner respect for the younger players that are in the organization.
And they've just done a fantastic job with the game. And I'm glad that they like each other. Who knows where they've known each other since the 90s when they were both in the Mariners farm system. So they've been good friends for a long time, and it's good to see this because, again, baseball is a sport known for its rivalries, but when the players liked each other behind the scenes, it's just great because it just brings the sport together and lets everyone know, yeah, we don't
It
like...
also adds to competitiveness.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like you say, oh, you're my friend. They'll call each other before the game, say, yo, I bet you I'll get 3 hits off your pitcher tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You would
they can't bet on the games. They can't bet on each other, but they'll have like friendly wagers and
I
say,
would
you know what, let's do this.
always do better in a sport when my friends were on the opposing team
Yeah.
because I wanted to beat them.
Yeah.
I
It's like when
I wanted to let them
It's
know.
like playing FIFA against your friend, you know?
Exactly.
Like, you're my friend, I like playing with you, but I'm going to beat you.
I'm gonna
beat
beat
you
you.
bad. And that's what these guys are looking to do on the field. Yankees-Red Sox rivalry is fantastic, and I can't wait for the beginning of the season. Real quick before we close off the show, the Yankees are playing against Toronto Blue Jays tonight. The Blue Jays have been on a tear so far in spring training. They've won 10 games and only lost 2, and the Yankees have only won 4 and lost 8 games. So we're looking to see a good outing for them tonight. Hopefully they can get the best out of that game. And real quick, shout out to the Iona Gales, who are dancing, and they are playing tomorrow on St. Patrick's Day, 2 p.m. You can catch that game on TBS. They're going against number 4, Iowa State, 21-11.
In Denver.
The Gales won 22 and lost 10. Pretty even records, but they're
similar teams.
Very
It's
similar
gonna be a
teams.
shootout.
It's going to be a crazy game, and the Gales have to play phenomenal defense as they've been working on the last couple of weeks to come out as winners of that game. And also, if you've got some free time this afternoon at 3:45 p.m. Eastern Time, we've got Barcelona and Arsenal in the second leg of their round of 16 matchup.
Barcelona's
and
going to win.
UEFA Champions League. Champions League.
Spoilers. Barcelona's going to win.
And Barcelona's going to beat them in the Camp Nou. It's going to be a great game to watch. This has been a phenomenal episode of Pyro's Power Play. Mike, thanks for coming on today.
Of course, anytime.
We'll be here next week. And by then, who knows? We're only going to be a 1 week.
You won't be here next week.
Oh, we won't be here next week. That's right. We're going on spring break. And after spring break, opening day is going to be only a couple days away.
Yep.
So by the time we get back on the air, ladies and gentlemen, we will have all the baseball news that you need.
In baseball season.
It's coming. It's coming quickly, and we're all excited for it. This has been a great episode of WYCR. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your St. Patrick's Day tomorrow. Have a safe day, safe outing. Enjoy it.
Be responsible.
Be responsible. Shout out to all of our friends here at WYCR. This is Anthony Paero, Michael DeLuca saying goodbye. Enjoy the rest of your day.
This is WICR.